emigrant, and that's an E-M-I-G-R-A-N-T. And notice there's only one M in that, and it is E-M-I-G-R-A-N-T. And that is someone who has left a country or an environment to get to another one. So you could say, Carl emigrated from Germany, for example. Someone who has left a country and then came to another country or another environment. Immigrant. I-M-M-I-G-R-A-N-T. An immigrant is someone who is inbound from another country or another environment. That, the way you remember that is it's an I, starts with an I, and in starts with an I. So immigrant, I-M-M-I-G-R-A-N-T, is someone coming in from another country or another environment.
Movement is the spreading of goods, such as supplies, ideas, ways to build better forts, and people around the world. Goods and ideas move around the world because of people. So what is it that causes people to move around the world? There are two reasons that cause people to move. The first is push factor. Push factors are reasons that would force you to leave a location, usually negative, such as war, crime, zombie outbreak, or safety concerns.
Mr. M, are you sure the door's safe?
Yeah, they're safe. Second reason is pull factors. Pull factors are reasons that will encourage you to go to a location. Usually positive, they can include jobs, resources, weather, and lack of zombies. For example, if you lived in an area which lacked necessary resources, it would make sense for you to move to an area that had those resources.
Large, steam-powered ships took to the seas after 1880, replacing the older, slower sailing ships, which meant it was suddenly much faster and cheaper to cross the ocean, making the dream of a journey to America more accessible to many around the world.
Processed and ticketed, they waited for their ship. They boarded in many parts of Europe and in many kinds of vessels, most to New York and some to other ports. But they had one thing in common. They were traveling steerage, and the steamship companies understood the profit in numbers.
Before long, millions of immigrants were arriving on America's shores. They passed through immigration processing stations like Ellis Island in New York and Angel Island in San Francisco Bay. This wave was much more diverse than before. Coming mainly from Southern Europe, it was led by Italians, Poles, Greeks, Swedes, Norwegians, Hungarians, Jews, Lebanese, and Syrians.
It was as if God's great promise had been fulfilled.
I've gone into a free land. I don't think I ever can explain that feeling that I had that time.
It's not my native land, but it means more to me than my native land. It means more to me than my native land.
Any country on earth that this never happened. And become a human being again. It's a miracle.
And everybody had hopes. And one thing I was sure, and thousands like me, that the degradation, the abuse, and the privation that we had in Europe we wouldn't have here.
This group was young, most were under 30 years old, mainly because an entire generation of the children of farmers and factory workers in Europe and the Russian Empire couldn't find work because the owners of the farms and factories preferred to have an efficient machine that they didn't have to pay do the work instead of a human being. Well, this was fine by America, whose steel, coal, automobile, textile, and garment production industries were booming. It happily took in this pool of eager, hard workers and put them to work in its growing industrial cities.